Howdy, I'm known as Dimwit, last mountain man, feared throughout the land. Well, it's terribly cold outside today, and I thought we'd just sit here by the fire and talk about Colt Percussion era revolvers. How did the percussion era start, and what put an end to it, and what kind of men carried these guns. And we might as well start with this one. This is Model 1851 Navy, and they actually started out in 1850, and they made them until 1873. And they say that the era of the gunfighter was born with the 1851 Navy. And this is kind of a gunfighter Navy Colt. It's been shortened from 7.5 inches to 4 3/4 of an inch. And this one is made in 1853. The percussion Colt revolver era started with the Percussion Colt, 1836-7, and I don't have one of those, but I had a replica once, and they kind of have funny looking things. They don't have a trigger guard, and until you cock it, it doesn't even have a trigger, but when you cock the hammer, the trigger comes out. And I never really liked them, but you have to remember they came out in a time in history when most other guys would have a muzzle-loading single-shot pistol, and a lot of them would still have a flintlock. So it was something really great back then. And then Samuel Colt went bankrupt, and then he introduced the Walker Colt in 1847, and that was more like it. I don't have a Walker Colt, but I got a 3rd Model Dragoon. And this is from the U.S. military series. It's a 4-screw cut for stock with a rear sight on here, and this one's made in 1858. And the 1851 Navy, that was originally a soldier's revolver, and it served well during the American Civil War. And but it was also a cowboy's revolver and an outlaw revolver, gunfighter, and also just a cowboy revolver. But the Walker Colts and the Dragoon Colts, they weren't intended to be carried in a holster on the hip. They were horse pistols, like Texas Rangers. They had 2 of them each in holsters in front of the saddle. And and they were powerful guns, and so it's not really something you'd carry. Let's see, what else we got? The 1860 Army Colt. This came about in 1860, of course, and it was 44 caliber, It was almost as powerful as the Dragoon, but it was a lot lighter. It was almost the size of a Navy Colt. So you had more power in a more convenient package. And this was possible due to great improvements in steel that they used. When they made the Dragoons in the beginning, they would not have been able to make this because the steel quality just wasn't there yet. So, and let's see, this one is made in 1863, and they were made from 1860 to 1873. And let's see, we got something for more of a common man here. This here is Colt Model 1849 Pocket, and this is a 31 caliber. It looks very much like Navy Colt, but it's quite a bit smaller and lighter, and it's completely dwarfed by the Dragoon. Quite a difference. And so who would carry a 31 caliber? You know, I'd say if you're living in town and you just wanted something for self-protection on your way back from the saloon in the evening or something, this would not be, I don't consider this a gun of a lawman or an outlaw, definitely not a soldier. This is a civilian gun for self-defense, people that didn't get into trouble all that often. But nice guns. All of these guns came in lots of different variations. And if you were to specialize in the 1849 Colt Pocket in your collection, you'd need about 200 of these to make a complete collection of all the variations. So, then, this here, this is a model 1862 Pocket Navy, and what they did is they took basically the 49 Pocket and made it into a 36 caliber instead of a 31 caliber. You can see they milled out part of the frame underneath the cylinder here, and the cylinder kind of gets a little bit wider towards the front here. So now you have the power of an 1851 Navy Colt in a 49 Pocket package. So, but you only get 5 shots. So you have to sell for 1 less shot, but it's more powerful. And if I was a storekeeper or something like that, I think this is what I'd like to carry for every day. But again, this is not a lawman's gun, this isn't an outlaw gun, this isn't a soldier's gun. But it's, I'd rather have a 36 with 5 shots than a 31 with 6 shots. So I really like this, these guns, and they were made from 1861 until 1873. And this one is first year production, 1861. It's got serial number 1055, so first year production. And it's also got the longest barrel. It's got the 6.5-inch barrel. So, and the long barrel ones are popular. So this is quite a collectible gun. And when they made the Pocket Navy, they also made the 1862 Police, and it got the same serial number range, and it's basically the same thing, except this has the looks, more streamlined looks of the 1860 Army Colt, and it's got the fluted cylinder. And whether you wanted the Pocket Navy or the Police, it was just a matter of personal preference. It's all about looks. So this one is made in 1868. It's got a 5.5-inch barrel. So, yeah. So let's see what we got left here now. We got this thing here. It's called, it's a side hammer revolver. It's called Model 1855 Roots. And let's see here. This is a 31 caliber version. First, in 1855, they started making these in 28 caliber, and then they changed that to 31 caliber, and they made them at least until 1870. And they say that last serial number is slightly more than 14,000. Well, this gun is 14,173, and it's the highest number Roots revolver that I have seen. And it's got the 4.5-inch barrel, which makes it a Model 7A in collector's terms, and these are rarely encountered, is what it says in the books. So quite a collectible gun. And I'm gonna cover these guns in more detail later on. We're gonna shoot them and make a video for each and every one of them, and so you'll get a closer look and some more details then. So if you have any detailed questions about one of these guns, you might as well just hold on a little bit and wait for the video to come out, and then all your questions will be answered, hopefully. And then what in the world, we got to talk a little bit more. Who would buy something like this when you could have all the time they made this, they were making the 49 Pocket. And who in their right mind, well, it's a little smaller, but still, I think the Roots was at least partly Samuel Colt's own design, and maybe that's why it was even made. But I'd take the 49 Pocket any day over the Roots. It's kind of it's one of very, very few Colt revolvers that are I even say ugly, and it's kind of a different design. So what brought the percussion era to an end? And that was, of course, the Rollin White patent that Smith & Wesson had purchased, and they controlled the market for cartridge revolvers, but that patent expired in 1869, and soon after that Colt got started in making modern, as we know it, metallic cartridge revolvers. And the first ones, the Colt, but they really didn't get started until 1872. And the first ones they made was the open top 22 caliber. I got one of those. And also the Colt Cloverleaf revolver. And I got one of those. And then they made a lot of different cartridge revolvers based on the older percussion revolvers. Some of them were percussion revolvers that were converted to cartridge guns, and some were just parts and that were in storage and intended for percussion guns, and then they made some more parts for metallic cartridges, and they put them together, and so they kind of made do with what they had. And of course in 1873 the famous Colt Peacemaker, the single action Army, appeared, and the most classic Western revolver ever made. And so, but Smith & Wesson had been making cartridge revolvers since 1857, but that was 22 caliber, and they started making the 32 caliber in 1861, and they really didn't get started with the 44 calibers until 1870. So Colt also got started with the 44, 45 in 1872. So it wasn't that much of a difference on these larger service revolvers, but Smith & Wesson surely had the market for themselves for a long time on these smaller ones, but a 22 and a 32 it really isn't something I'd be willing to go into battle with. And the Smith & Wesson didn't bring out the 38 caliber until 1876. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I hope you enjoyed kind of a preview of these revolvers, and someday we'll take them out in the forest by the cabin, and we'll try them out. Let's see here. I'll give you a closer look. There they are. Well, thanks for now, and see you later.